And guys, we are live. Hello, one and all. It's been a while since I've done a video on this channel, but I am up here for my delayed review for Monday Night Raw. We're going to take a look and break down everything that took place on the April 24th, 2017 edition of Monday Night Raw, which emanated from Kansas City, Missouri. So I just want to apologize for not making a lot of videos lately, but I'm going to hopefully get things back on track, starting with this live review of Raw, a show that I really didn't care for that much, and then I will follow that up with my SmackDown review. I was able to watch SmackDown this morning, and I thought it was a better show than Raw, but I'll save that for my thoughts in my next video. So looking at Raw here, this was the go-home show to Payback 2017, which is coming up this Sunday. And to me, a go-home show should get me at least somewhat excited for Payback. To me, this show didn't do any of that. To me, this show kind of just felt haphazard and thrown together. It just felt like, well, it's a show. I mean, the only thing I really was looking forward to going into it was that dumpster match between Braun, Strowman, and Karlisto. I had hopes for this show. I was hoping, well, let's ratchet up the excitement for Payback. I mean, I think the card for Payback is a good card. I just felt that this show under-delivered in what a go-home show should do, and Raw's go-home shows lately, for a long time now, have really just felt lacking, uninspired, and just thrown together. This was a weird show, too. Just a lot of weird booking decisions where you look back that really didn't make any sense. So for me, that hurt my enjoyment of the show. But there was stuff that I always did enjoy on this show. Not everything was a complete waste of time. So without further ado, let's get into Raw. Now, this opening segment here, it was different. It was interesting. It was weird. Again, this whole theme of this was just a weird show. It started off with the highlight reel with Chris Jericho. He came out and Jericho was talking up the fact of how this might be the last highlight reel on Monday Night Raw. He might, beat Kevin Owens and go to SmackDown Live. And then The Miz would come out. And then The Miz said, the highlight reel's canceled. We're going to switch over to Miz TV. And then Dean Ambrose comes out. And I did like the fact that they brought up their history, Ambrose and Jericho, over the fact that Dean Ambrose destroyed Chris Jericho's $15,000 light-up jacket. You stupid idiot. That's why you're on the list, Dean Ambrose. Don't you forget it. So, eventually, this led to the production crew changing over to the Ambrose Asylum. So we went from the highlight reel to the Ambrose Asylum, or excuse me, Miz TV to the highlight reel. So, like I said, it was a weird segment. It kind of went, it did go too long, but I enjoyed it. It eventually led to Ambrose hitting Miz with the dirty deeds, and Jericho put Maurice on the list. He didn't put Miz on the list, but he did put Maurice on the list. And that would set up for later in the night for our main event, which was Ambrose and Jericho versus Miz and a mystery partner of his choosing. And don't worry, I will get into that because I was not a fan of how that main event went down. But the opening segment here, I thought was weird. And then some people didn't like it, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought Jericho putting Maurice on the list was fun. And I guess seeing them switch shows like that was okay. It was an all right opening segment. It wasn't the best. Wasn't the worst. Yeah, it was what it was. But the one thing that does kind of bother me is, okay, it looks like you're building up to Ambrose versus Miz for the Intercontinental Championship, and I assume that that's what we would see take place at Payback. No, Dean Ambrose actually isn't defending the Intercontinental Championship as of this video. He doesn't even have a match. And The Miz is going to be hosting a Miz TV edition on Payback pre-show with special guest Finn Balor. So it's just like, okay then. From the way it looked they were going for the last 2 weeks, it looked like it was going to be Miz and Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship. But as of now, no. So I don't know when that match takes place, but it's just like, okay then. Never mind. After this match, we move on to our next match, which featured Sheamus versus Matt Hardy. It was an all right match. Solid, kind of unspectacular. Hard-hitting match, I have to say. Matt Hardy was able to get the win after he hit the twist of fate on Sheamus after it looked like Cesaro was trying to create some sort of distraction, but Jeff got up on the apron and him and Cesaro bickered back and forth for a little bit. That led to Sheamus being distracted, and Matt hit the twist of fate for the win. The interesting thing after the match was looked like they were teasing a potential Sheamus and Cesaro heel turn on Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. They didn't go there, but that was kind of intriguing. You know, the Hardys extended their hand out, shake Sheamus and Cesaro's hands. They did shake their hands, but I would like to see them play up something at Payback. You know, maybe they do turn heel on the Hardy Boys. I mean, I don't see them beating the Hardy Boys this early into their run, but I think it will be a good match this Sunday at Payback. The only thing that hurts it is it's just kind of been a level of respect amongst these two teams. There's been very little storyline going. It's just kind of been, okay, this is who you're facing at Payback. We respect you. You respect us. And it's just been like, okay, I'm excited for the match just based on who's going to be involved, but the story leaves a lot to be desired. So we'll see what direction they go in coming out of Payback. We then had, I did like this segment with Kurt Angle and the Miz and Maurice. And if we keep seeing interactions between Angle, Miz, and Maurice, this could easily become one of my favorite parts of the show every week. I just loved how the Maurice was yelling at Angle for forcing the Miz to find a partner to face Jericho and Miz tonight, and Angle's pretty much just like, right back at you, because Kurt had no idea what Maurice was saying. I love Kurt Angle as the general manager of Raw. Despite this show not being that good, the stuff with Kurt throughout the night was just awesome, just because of his, comedic timing, his facial expressions. Kurt gets it, and he gets it. And I just like how he completely blew off Maurice, even though he had no idea what she was saying. So, but down the line, maybe at SummerSlam, if a Kurt Angle Miz matchup, that would be something I'd like to see. You could really build this up, seeing as how Miz couldn't do anything with Daniel Bryan in the ring due to Bryan not being able to get cleared. If Kurt Angle could get cleared, I think that would be a nice match to have for a show like a SummerSlam. So we'll see where they go. This was really the first interactions that these two have had. So far, so good. We had a solid cruiserweight match between Neville and TJ Perkins versus Austin Aries and Jack Gallagher. Nothing really too much to write home here about. I thought it was good. It was what it was. I'm interested in seeing where they go with this Neville TJ Perkins pairing, seeing as how Perkins turned heel 2 weeks ago. I did like the TJ Perkins heel turn. But like I said, we'll have to see where they go with it. It's going to be Neville versus Austin Aries this Sunday at Payback for the Cruiserweight Championship. Look forward to that rematch. But Austin Aries and Jack Gallagher were able to get the win after Austin Aries leveled TJP with the discus 5-arm for the win. Not really too much to say. It was a solid match, but it was kind of just a match. So best way I can describe it. Good work, but nothing too spectacular or great. We then had the dumpster match featuring Braun Strowman versus Karlisto. And to the surprise of many, and myself, and it was weird, kind of the theme of how this show went down. This was a weird show. Karlisto beat Braun Strowman. I mean, for the majority of this match, Braun Strowman manhandled Karlisto. He threw him across the ring. He picked him up. Looked like he was going to throw him into the dumpster. Suplexed him back into the ring. I mean, he was just toying, taking his time with Karlisto. And as Strowman had Karlisto up for the press slam, it looked like, he was just going to toss Karlisto into the dumpster. Karlisto was able to reverse it and drop kick Strowman's legs, and Strowman fell into the dumpster, and Karlisto won. Now, the thing that confused me is I thought in a dumpster match, but again, this company, you know how official rules go, they just make this shit up as they go along. I thought in a dumpster match, you had to close the lid on the dumpster, and then you win. Strowman just landed standing upright in the dumpster, and the bell rang, and we're like, oh, okay, Karlisto won. I mean, it was kind of nullified due to the fact that Strowman afterwards beat the piss out of Karlisto, just threw him up and down like a rag doll, locked him in the dumpster, took him up the ramp, pushed him off the 3 feet stage, which really, back in the day when it was creating the New Age Outlaws, when they pushed Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie off the stage, that was a lot more impressive, but you have to figure back then the stage was a lot higher. So, that was cool seeing Strowman beat the shit out of Karlisto. But it kind of just nullifies the fact that, yeah, Karlisto won, but remember wins and losses? Yeah, they don't matter at all in WWE, because the fact that this match really proved that point, because, yeah, Karlisto may have won, but Strowman was the guy left standing tall. So I don't like that, the fact that it de-emphasizes wins and losses. I mean, we know this is the mentality from the company, but it would have made more sense. I mean, I understand they were trying to tell, Strowman fit of rage, okay, as a result of losing. But you could have had Strowman win, put Karlisto in the dumpster, and then just had him push it off anyways. I mean, you still could have got to that end result and have Strowman win. And it was just confusing to me, and I think people, watching, it's just like, oh, Karlisto won. I thought the lid had to be closed. I mean, there was no explanation. I mean, at least explain the rule. If you're going to change the rules, at least explain this is what the dumpster meant. Okay, you just got to get the guy in. You don't have to close the lid, because we all thought you had to close the lid. Whatever. So yeah, it's just kind of a weird segment, a weird match. But Strowman was left standing tall, so and he did push Karlisto off the stage, so that was that. Dana Brooke versus Alicia Fox. Nothing really too much to write over here about. Dana Brooke wins. Still up here way too early. She would have benefited from being on NXT. I would like to see them reunite Dana Brooke and Emma, and kind of have Emma do most of the ring work, because you could tell Dana Brooke is still very, very green. Emma did get into the ring and hug Dana Brooke, but she kind of looked disgusted. So, yeah, nothing really too much to say there. We had a 6-man tag match, Enzo and Cass, and Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe and Anderson and Gallows. Before the match, I did like the pre-match beatdown. Samoa Joe, Anderson and Gallows beat down Enzo and Big Cass. They took out Enzo. So Seth Rollins came down to make the save, and it looked like they were going to be down a man in this match because Enzo wouldn't be able to compete. Finn Balor took his place. And we had a solid 6-man tag here. But again, nothing too spectacular or eventful happened. One eventful thing did happen. It kind of just came out of nowhere. Rollins was going to get the win on Anderson. He was going to set up the pedigree, but then he followed it around with the ripcord knee, a la from Kenny Omega, which we saw what Omega said on Twitter about that. Seth Rollins' new finisher. I like it. I still would have liked to have seen the curb stomp come back, but realistically, we're not going to be seeing that happen. So if that's the case, it's better than the pedigree for Seth going forward. And it was a solid 6-man. People were hoping for Finn Balor to possibly turn heel in this match. I didn't think it was going to happen this soon. I just don't think that's going to happen for Finn. Maybe down the line he reunites with Anderson and Gallows, and I'd like to see the Shield versus the Club, but not yet, not here. So yeah, solid 6-man tag. But the only really spectacular, I wouldn't even say spectacular. That's just eventful thing was Seth Rollins debuting his new finisher. We then move on after this to the in-ring segment. Alexa Bliss came down. Alexa cut a pretty good promo here talking about Bayley and how, Alexa is going to defeat and mock Bayley in front of her hometown crowd in New Jersey, East Rutherford, where Payback's going to be taking place, and how she will defeat her in her hometown and in front of her father. And she asked Bayley, you're just a sheltered little child. And she was like, Bayley, have you ever kissed a boy before even? And she's like, well, we all know the answer to that. Eventually, Sasha Banks comes down. She calls Alexa Bliss troll doll. And, tonight, Sasha Banks challenged Alexa Bliss to a match. Bliss said, I don't feel being safe in the ring with you, Sasha, so I'm just going to go away and try and get out of this match. But Sasha Banks had other intentions in mind. She decked Alexa Bliss with a punch, and we had Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss, which really wasn't too much of a match here. Maybe they're saving more for down the line. So I was a little bit underwhelmed by that. I was hoping to see a good solid 8-10 minutes of in-ring time between these two. But I'd actually like to see a program. We've never seen a Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss program. That would be very interesting, especially if it's for the championship, if Alexa Bliss walks out of Payback with that women's title. But Bliss was counted out. She said, I had enough of this match. I'm going to the back. And then Bayley was standing. She was doing commentary. She came, stood up on the ring, on the the stage. And Alexa Bliss came back from behind and attacked Bayley from behind. Sasha Banks comes back to make the save on Bayley and runs off Alexa Bliss. So it was nice seeing Alexa Bliss, kind of using her cunningness, her resources to one-up Bayley. But the match between her and Sasha wasn't really anything to write home about. It was really over in the blink of an eye. I believe there was a commercial break, too, in between there. So the cheap shot she got him on Bayley was nice, but, it was what it was. Kind of like this show. It just was there. Didn't really feel like a go-home show to me. It just felt like a lack of urgency on Raw this week. There was one funny segment where Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose were backstage. They were talking about which it's a new era. We're going to let bygones be bygones, despite the fact, Ambrose, that you destroyed my $15,000 jacket and you put 69 thumbtacks in me in that Ambrose Asylum match, you stupid idiot. I said they're going to work together. And Ambrose asked Jericho, well, that's the fact. Could I be taken off the list? Can I be unmade from the list of Jericho? And Jericho got out his pen. Like this one, but not as good. And he said, Dean Ambrose, you just unmade the list. And then when Ambrose left, Ambrose remade the list. So we witnessed history on Monday night. We witnessed somebody being unmade and then put back on the list of Jericho. Funny stuff right here. Subtle, funny stuff between Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. We had The Miz throughout the night. He was looking for his tag team partner, and he was talking to Sheamus and Cesaro. He talked to his co-stars from the Marine 5, the new upcoming movie. Curtis Axel, Heath Slater, Rhino. I got a kick out of seeing The Miz, asking everybody, well, I need a partner tonight. Can you guys think you can help me out here? And Rhino offered Maurice some cheese and crackers, and she slapped the plate right out of his hand, and Miz eventually was handed a note with the name of his partner on it, as we all found out later on in the night. It was Bray Wyatt, and Miz walked off very pleased. We had Kurt Hawkins versus Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews picked up the win. Not really too much to say here with spin out powerbomb for the win, if I can get it out right. The interesting thing was, after the match, I like Apollo Crews, but the one thing that he is missing, if he could just find that character and get it down, sky's the limit for this guy. But until then, he's just been treading water. They did tease the past 2 weeks partnership between him and Titus O'Neil. Titus put his arm around Apollo, took a picture with him, and Apollo just had this kind of like, okay, this is kind of awkward smile going on there. So I'm interested to see in this partnership between Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews, but with WWE Creative being what it is, we'll see. I am interested, but we'll see what direction they go in with this. Could be good, could not be good, but I'll give it a chance. Then we have this main event, and this was just weird. Again, the theme of this being a weird show. It's Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose versus The Miz and his mystery partner, who didn't help him until way later on in the match. So it was two baby faces taking on a heel in what Kurt Angle came out and announced, since your partner's not here, this is going to be a 2-on-1 handicap match. And I didn't know how to react to that. It's like, well, you kind of feel sympathetic for The Miz, but he's the heel, so that's how they want you to boo. So, but when you put him up against two baby faces in the scenario, it just kind of, it's like, what the hell? What kind of psychology is that? And the crowd reacted the same way. It's like, I don't know who to cheer. I mean, I want to cheer the good guys, but kind of feel bad for Miz. And it just led to a kind of lackluster main event. I mean, it was what it was. Bray Wyatt, eventually the lights go out. Bray Wyatt standing there. He beats down on Ambrose. He Sister Abigail's Ambrose into the LED stage board. And they let Wyatt hit Sister Abigail on Jericho. And Wyatt hit Sister Abigail on Miz to close out Raw. So I did like Bray Wyatt closing out Raw. But I didn't like how we got there. To me, it's just like, I don't know. It just came across as weird. And I was like thinking, well, maybe Miz's partner could be Braun Strowman, you know, somebody that's dominant, imposing, and could just beat the holy hell out of Ambrose and Jericho. Maybe it's Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis. They were teasing it on Twitter. Maybe it's the Drifter, Elias Sampson, who was backstage, you know, drifting along, playing his guitar when The Miz was backstage, talking to Kurt Angle. But it was Bray Wyatt. I don't know if Bray Wyatt would... It just didn't seem to fit for me. It was just like, I like seeing Bray stand tall, but I didn't like how we got there. And it just kind of ended Raw on a note. And this episode... Looking back on it, nothing really too special, especially for a go-home show. That's what you go off the air. I understand Bray's challenging Randy in the House of Horrors match. Didn't get me that much more excited for the House of Horrors match. So that was Raw. In a nutshell, it was not a good show this week. If I had to give a grade for it, I would give it a D for Daniel, a D+. Close to a C-, but still... I expected better. Hopefully next week will be better. And based on my Twitter poll this week, I'll pull it up here. You guys agree. 11% thumbs up, 89% thumbs down. So, yeah, not a good show this week, guys. But that is it, guys, for this Monday Night Raw review. I want to say thank you for watching. Leave your comments down below for what you thought of Raw this week. What did you like? What didn't you like? And, of course, I will be back up here very shortly for my SmackDown Live review. And then I will be doing a Q&A video this week as well. So, and my Payback preview and predictions video later on in the week. And I will be doing a live Payback video review with special guest NC, Nerd Coalition. It will be great to have him back on the channel. So we will be going live immediately after the Payback pay-per-view this Sunday. So that is it for this live Raw review. Thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see you guys in my next video. So until then, thanks for watching and take care.